I take it as a good thing when manufacturers show confidence in their products through naming, but Kickasspanel has to be one of the boldest names I've ever come across for an LED light. The Kickasspanel is brought to you by Lupo, an Italian manufacturer for lighting products. This light is made in Italy and it's perhaps some of the most solid feeling plastic I have touched. But for little portable battery powered LEDs, the Kickasspanel is actually on the slightly bigger side of things. I would say if I'm traveling, this is as big of an LED panel as I'm willing to bring. It's a very simple layout for the operator, 3 dials for controlling the light on the left, a backlit dot matrix display, 3 buttons for menu navigation, a power switch, and your battery plate. You can power this through either a single Sony MP style battery or the USB Type-C ports on its side, or good old direct current. It doesn't ship with a battery nor a DC adapter, however, but it does come with a very nice USB Type-A to C cable. This light, for its form factor, does put out a very respectable amount of light, though I should say each diode on this does have their own little light focusing element, so we're actually getting a much tighter beam spread out of this than, say, a naked LED panel. The light does ship with a diffuser attachment, but without it, this would mean it's outputting a concentrated, intense spot of light. To give you an idea of how bright this is and how the beam angle looks like, I'll show you the output alongside the Aperture MC. Not that it's a fair comparison, the MC is a much smaller light, but it's a great point of reference because many people are familiar with the MC. So yes, you can say that the Kickasspanel is bright largely due to most of its output being converged onto a smaller area, but I would personally much rather have it this way. It's much easier to diffuse a narrow beam to make it spread out than it is to try and converge a panel source that already has a very wide spread. In a sense, this is a more controllable light. And for close range lighting, it's also just bright enough to be used as a key light in a pinch, even after shooting it through some diffusion. I probably should have also mentioned this earlier, but the Kickasspanel is actually a full color RGBWW light, so you've got bicolor on top of RGB. The bicolor performance in terms of light quality is actually very good within its standard range of 3200 to 5600 Kelvin. You do have the option of expanding it to a range of 2800 to 10,000 Kelvin at a slight expense to color accuracy at the extreme ends. One thing I really appreciate on this panel is how it's got tint correction in CCT mode. You can add one full stop of green or minus green, which is incredibly useful for matching light sources. However, the dial that controls this setting can get bumped off position rather easily, and this inconvenience does carry over to the other operating modes as well. But these other modes would be the RGB modes. Switching modes is a tiny bit of a hassle because there is no dedicated button to do so, you've got to do it through the menu. You've got the usual HSI and RGB modes to choose from, as well as a preset mode for you to choose output color from a list of predetermined presets. It's also got an effects mode with a pretty extensive collection of effects to choose from, and all of them have some basic options for customization. The Kickasspanel also comes with a very nice ball head. The ball head mounts onto a cold shoe or 1/4 inch mount. As for mounting the light itself, you've got a 1/4 inch thread on the left, right, and bottom of the light. Now, if there is one thing that I really wish was better about this light, is the amount of time it takes to boot when you power it on. It takes a few seconds between flipping on the switch and the light actually coming on. I also find the menu to be not the most responsive. If you press buttons too quickly, it might not register. These are mainly issues with the user experience, but relatively minor function-wise. There is one last pleasant surprise about this light, however, and that is how incredibly smooth the dimming is. In fact, I'm gonna say that this is one of the smoothest dimmings among any LED I've used. It dims all the way down to 0%, and when you bring it up from there, the light just fades in beautifully and gracefully. On Lupo's official store, you're looking at a pricing of $298 for the Kickasspanel, which might be on the steep side for a small LED light, but what you get with that is a very well-built light, very capably bright as well, and feels like it's gonna last. If you are picking one up from Lupo's official store, they were kind enough to share a coupon code that offers a 5% discount. The code ZY5 is valid for 3 months from the date this video goes live, so do what you may with that information. And that's all I got for today. If you enjoyed this review, maybe try checking out some of my other ones.